Hey. Yeah, there's no way we'll definitely be editing out the bumper in the beginning. Like, there's just no way around it. But that's okay. I mean, the live chat's part of the thing. It doesn't really work if if it's coming over from the whole thing. All right, so we got people coming in. I got a little bit of a technical hang up this week. Let me know if the audio is okay. I threw on a limiter. Um, the noise suppression worked great right out of OBS, but I threw a limiter on it too this time, so we'll see. I'm waiting for my monitor laptop to reboot. Audio equals good. Cool. All right. You know, we got some people. We got some UK peeps. We got some EU peeps in here. This is your time slot. Come on. All right. So we'll get started. This is just going to be a pretty straightforward one. We're doing, what the first one is and what we'll have a whole playlist of, which is, trying to get as much of a discography as you can out of, one store, one seller from, a target artist, and then you pepper it, and generally you're looking for bigger name artists with long discographies, and that's where you're going to find good value. Um, Sinead O'Connor, like, absolutely one of my favorite artists of all time. And there's so much more to her discography than a lot of people really explore. I mean, yeah, it gets a little bit off after the main sweep of the Chrysalis years. The first Atlantic record, Faith and Courage, is okay, but obviously her life and everything that she's gone through, religious changes, changed her name, etc. There it's up to you where it kind of begins and or ends with her as an artist. For me, everything, Am I Not Your Girl is tough. It was a really strange, frustrating, all the classic record label pressure, blah blah blah. But she really did come back pretty well in Universal Mother. So, trying to build a card out of this to get yourself, a good batch of her discography on CD shouldn't be the hardest thing in the world. The sorting we've gone through before, the easiest way to get this stuff going, you want to find a seller that's got, a significant amount of her discography. So there's 45,000 copies of Sinead O'Connor ephemera on Discogs. Quite a bit. That'll come down heavily. We'll go US and then we're going to go CD. So, there's such a paucity of vinyl too. That's a weird thing. Like if you were serious about her catalog or you're a big fan, there's not a lot of Sinead vinyl. So, something to be aware of. But anyway, so just in the US, just CDs, there's over 4,000 in here, which is pretty nuts. The thing that's sort of frustrating is until you go into a seller, you can't like sort by price yet. There are ways you can develop, custom filters and stuff, especially as I always mention, using the plugin we're using called Discogs Enhancer. That's how we have, dark theme, dark mode. It's just that it's not, can we be sure to find a seller who has Rugrats in Paris soundtrack? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, there is a later album too. You're mentioning the green cover. That's not bad. And then there's a beautiful. This is where she does, I think, the version of Dylan's. It's the last song on it, "I Believe in You." It's so good. This is like one of my favorite covers ever. And you can't go wrong with Wilson Phillips' "Silent Night." Trust me on that one. Yeah, and you get Debbie Gibson, Run DMC, Christmas Is, but it's not the original. So I mean, this was the second of the two. The very special Christmas series, the original one, was such an absolutely explosive monster novelty. It was an extremely successful project. You know, the Eurythmics, Winter Wonderland, you know, Merry Christmas Baby, Bruce Springsteen. But you know, the Christmas in Hollis and U2, like it just was loaded with good stuff. And the second one is significantly weaker, but Sinead closes it. There are some good cuts on it. This is real bizarre. Sinatra and Cyndi Lauper doing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. But I mean, yeah, these are things you can get literally for less than $1 and should be paying less than $1 for. So um, we'll go through and we're going to, okay, so we're not going to filter by that. We're going to filter by seller and we're going to look and see, you know, we've got it 4,000, you know, it's going to be tough. But going through here, you know, these prices aren't great shakes, but they've got a lot of it. This comp too is also such a must in UCD shopping. The Red Hot and Blue comp. This has U2's. It's got Sinead's You Do Something to Me, which is a classic. It's good. Steve Lillywhite did all this, by the way, for this Red Hot and Blue. I think he produced like the majority of this with Chris Stein. But anyway, this has some really cool stuff on it. My favorite thing on it is the U2's Night and Day. So U2's version of Night and Day, it's really, it's like, so I pair this like with God Part 2, Rattle and Hum. This is like this weird, dark, kind of like stalker energy that Bono had going at this point for a minute. And I've always loved this. The backing drum loop on this is just like, it's got such a good, it's got so much swing to it. It really like, it's such a good flow. And you also have the Jungle Brothers on here, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, this is another one. Lots of classics for lots of different, you know, genres that you might be into. Not sure about this Debbie Harry and Iggy Pop duet. Did You Have It? These are classics, obviously. I mean, the whole thing is a tribute to Cole Porter, and so you know, it's all classics from his catalog. So this one, you know, just a couple of things. I'm not seeing enough to stop there, but this is going to be tough. You're really going to have to blow through and find like, you know, multiple listings because it should be there. Wow, somebody's even got, she's coming up on the credits because we talked about Us last time. This is why I was thinking of Sinead, because we went through and Us came up in a store last time for almost nothing. That looks, wow. It's just the prices are not great. A lot of stuff, but she's such a repeat offender with soundtrack appearances. Sorry, I have to tick back and forth between the chat because my laptop is updating. So excuse me for that. Discogs Enhancer changes the game. Yeah, there's a ton you can do with it. There's almost like too much. The best of. So this place has got tons. So I'm gonna break them out and we might go back to them. Lion the Cobra 4, Universal Mother. Ooh, is there more? Because if they have, oh wow, Theology. That's the it's the controversial one. That's not really for me. Wow, they've got a lot, but they don't have I Do Not Want that I'm seeing. It's got everything else though. Holy crap. Yeah, they've got everything. And the prices aren't too bad. Oh yeah, 18. Oh my God, she's on that. What did she do on 18? Holy crap. Harbor? God, I don't even remember this. This album was such garbage. I could not deal. They've got a lot over there. All right, let's see if we can just find one more that's like a good. Because I mean, you'll be able to find quite a number of sellers with a huge chunk of her discography. She didn't appear on Goodbye Jumbo, did she? You got to be kidding me. She's backing vocals on Sweet Soul Dream. World Party is a so this guy, he was just like around forever. You know, long time music writing studio guy, had lots of songs in the 80s, sort of like Ian Brody. You know, it's so the biggest thing he did is he wrote "She's the One," and Robbie Williams stole it from him, which is a totally effed up story. He was like down the hall, and so he had hits on "Goodbye Jumbo," and then this next one, "Bang," which had a song called what was the other good song? Oh no, they were both on the other one. But it was a big debut. "Goodbye Jumbo" was a big debut record, and "Put the Message in the Box" and "Way Down Now" were both like legit college radio, even straight ahead UK FM radio hits. So I still think "Put the Message in the Box" is great. It's very kind of Macca, Beatlesy. All his stuff, like "Way Down Now" ends with a reprise of uh, "Sympathy for the Devil," Rolling Stones, the Woo Woo. And it's like I mean, it's 1990, so you're getting that boxy drum beat, the drum machine drum beat. But it's a pretty solid record. Just the follow up went nowhere. I mean, it really does track similarly with Lightning Seeds in terms of the career trajectory, without the World Cup song, the Three Lions hit later on. And what screwed him was on this record here, when he was in the studio working on it, he had this song "She's the One," and the producer, well, not the producer because he was working on, but somebody in the studio who was engineering, and I forget who it was. I forget the name. The credits here are ruinously incomplete, but somebody in the studio broke off a dub of this and played it for Robbie Williams, and Robbie Williams like just straight up did it. Like the specifics of how bad and how egregious this was, I'm not 100% on. Like I haven't read up on it. It's been a while, but it's a pretty insidious and historic story. So basically, yeah, he stole. It's just like what would used to happen in the 60s and 70s. Like somebody would come up with a good song, and then like Mama Cass would do it, and then so everyone else's version would be gone. And I've talked before, because I'm being back doing stuff. The DSLR videos I had done like 10 years ago, I did one about Evie Sands, and this happened to Evie Sands like 5 times just in her career alone. The Hollies took "Take Me for a Little While." Juice Newton had the biggest hit with "Angel of the Morning." She was somebody that was getting songs from John Voight's brother, who's the guy who wrote them and wrote "Wild Thing." But anyway, um, yeah. Anyway, the World Party, I'm sure he has like a compilation of, hits or whatever, that somebody put out that has all of his stuff. If so, yeah, this is a comp band. If there was a comp that had, yeah, I'm sure it's all been put out. Yeah, here you go. So this is all you need. I mean, honestly, just if you can find this cut out, Best in Show, whatever. There's probably different ones. Papillon put one out. Yeah. But this Best in Show one on Seaview seems to have everything you'd really need. But he had some good songs. He was just like a guy that was kicking around, and had a bunch of ideas, and wrote some good songs, and didn't really get any solid exposure really. Um, Critics love World Party and the Waterboys. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first World Party they did, but yeah, World Party was definitely on one of the Just Say No comps. The Just Say's were another big move. I mean, comps are part of the whole flavor of CD and why CD took off and everything. I have the first, the original. Now that's what I call the Now CD from 1986. I'll have to get into that, figure out a way we could just literally do a thing on those. But yeah, I mean, this, like I say, you're kind of spoiled for options in terms of sellers that are likely to have her discography. You should be able to, without any trouble, take it down, at $4.99 or less a CD. It's just a question of, how good a deal you can find, and how much of the discography you can get from one place. And that's sort of that's the boundary with Discogs, and the way this is the only way it really works for you. Because otherwise it's, you're getting killed on shipping, and you're doing multiple orders, and you lose the value prop. But there, with artists like this, you can get a solid clutch. Like I say, we're targeting like a $50 cart. Shouldn't be an issue. Ooh, these are good prices. But not that much stuff. I mean, honestly, there should be so many sellers that have pretty much her entire discography. So this one's the one I talked to. CD Warehouse 817. They come up all the time for everything. Um, Hey, they got Mind Bomb. There you go. Somebody was calling that out earlier. Yeah, $4, $4. They don't have I do not want what I haven't got. I mean, so for me, if I was doing this and I was starting out and I wanted to get, a good chunk of her discography, your cornerstone here is I do not want what I haven't got. This has to be in this haul, because it's not only her greatest achievement, it's one of the best records of the 90s. Even back when, I was at Pitchfork and we were idiots and didn't know anything, that was still like in my top 20 at least for the 90s, by far. It's such a superb record. They made an MFSL of Red Hot and Blue that someone wants $50 for. So MFSL is just absolute bullshit, and it has been forever. Especially when you talk about CD. CD is a digital standard. It's a machining red book standard. I don't care what the CD is made of. If it's gold, platinum, titanium, it doesn't matter. All lasers read it at the same bit rate, 16, 44.1. That's it. This is absolute bullshit. It's just complete nonsense. The only thing that could be different here would be that the mastering would be a little bit hotter, and that's it. Like, it's so dumb. This was only a thing back in the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd days. Like, the whole notion of half speed mastering and all this other bullshit, it doesn't matter for anything after about like 1985. So do not waste your money on this crap. Especially, MFSL or OMR CDs, or the A&M AM plus gold, the Bowie gold shit. It's such nonsense. It's just totally a hype. It's completely illegitimate. Run. Run screaming from it. So let's hold on. My Mac just rebooted so I can more easily monitor what we're doing instead of having to tic-tac and look at the chat in another window. DSR, they got a lot of it. Oh, it's looking pretty goodish, but the prices are all over the place. Nah, it's still, like, we can definitely do better. Do 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 do. Hold on, let me pull this up so I can actually see what you guys are doing. There we go. All right. Oh, I gotta get my volume down. There we go. Okay. All right, I can see the chat. Did Robbie steal Angels as well? Robbie Williams. Don't really know. I'm not 100% sure on a lot of that. He was just I don't know. Does she have any good live CDs? Sinead, I don't think, I'd have to pull it up by her when we get there, but I'm not sure that she ever did a dedicated live album. She appears on The Wall live in Berlin. This is like one of her most notorious experiences. There's an interview she gave about this. It was such a nightmare for her dealing with Roger Waters. And it was also like the worst period of her career too, because this is right after Sinatra's like, I want to punch that chick in the mouth, or whatever the fuck he said. Like, what a piece of shit. But yeah, she duets, or actually no, I think she does Mother solo, which is, a perfect choice for her. But yeah, this experience for her was really traumatic, and I don't think she was alone in it. Like, he's just an obvious, well-known, legendary tyrant, and she had a horrible experience. So, but long story short, I don't believe, and if she did, I'm not aware of it offhand, that she did a dedicated full live album, which is, I mean, maybe a shame. I don't know. If she did, it happened later. I mean, she was always, so Sinead O'Connor is the first concert I ever saw. Should probably put that out there. I saw her on the I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got tour, and she was wearing like a spandex floral bodysuit. She had a good band, and then she did like the Cocteau Twins thing where she brought out the reel-to-reel and played the loop for I Am Stretched on Your Grave, and just there was a spotlight on the reel-to-reel and her, and that was it. And it was really fantastic. And she was a great show overall. Like, she had such a good set going then, because all the songs on Lion and the Cobra were so good live, and that album suffers for a lot of stereotypical, bad 80s reverb production that live is completely stripped away. And like 5 of the songs on that album work as like straight up rock songs when you take out, that awful like drum gating and reverb stuff. And then of course, like I say, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, put it all together with that. It was such a good period to have seen her. And then the controversy and everything that came after it about her, she tore, if you're young, you may not know this. She tore up a picture of the Pope and said, "Fight the real enemy," live on Saturday Night Live. So she was banned from Saturday Night Live for life. Lorne Michaels does not tolerate people thinking they're bigger than his show or using his show as a platform. And that's exactly what Sinead O'Connor did. And he's completely within his rights to be like, fuck you, you're banned for life. And she should have been. It was a bullshit thing to do. I mean, whatever your feelings about this, there's a million ways you could go about it. It's a light network comedy show on American TV. And like, you're going to, hijack it to take a shot at the Catholic Church, which like everybody knows is a problem. Like she wasn't like cracking the seal on something. So it was just too selfish of a move, and she paid the price. And then she was going to shows and people were actively showing up. Like, there weren't like frequent record burnings or anything. There were straight up protests and picketing at her shows. She went on stage at some point and she tells this anecdote. The boos were so loud and so pervasive throughout the auditorium. She thought she was going to throw up, and there's footage of this. She's coming off stage, side stage, and she collapses bawling into Chris Christopherson's arms of all people. I forget what this was, some kind of, event, fundraising, charity concert thing. And it was like her first appearance after the furor post SNL. And, yeah, man, I mean, not a lot of people end up in a place where you experience the overwhelming, like stomach churning kind of like horror of abject rejection on like an international level, like tens of thousands of people booing and screaming angrily at the stage that you're standing on. Like, what she went through was totally nuts. And then, yeah, I mean, I made the joke, and we talked in the last stream that she kind of took shelter with Peter Gabriel during his whole Us production, and they were like an item on that tour. And as I say, some incredible fashions can be found if you look at pictures from that time. Oh, they've got the Obi, this one here is looking like they've got almost everything. So, of course, I have to like copy it because it gets matched to a database entry, and if you don't copy it to the way it is in Discogs, you get bizarre results. We'll just go for Sinead. Hopefully Shinehead doesn't come up. So, I mean, this place alone has got 212 entries coming up, and they're almost all, so there's nothing under 5, which is kind of, it's a little bit rich for her. Again, the opportunity to get everything from one store is there, but $6 a CD, yeah, that's not it,
You fucking joking.
I'm going to dump this place. They're no good. It's too rich. So we're going to scan through them. I mean, they got everything, but they just want too much for it, for what we're doing here. It's just not the way to go. Oh, nice. CD single. Success has made a failure of our home. Red Hot and Blue. Oh, this is looking good. They don't have that much. But like, yeah, $2, bang, bang. But, I'm not going to recommend anybody has to pick up any Chieftains records today. We're not going that old school. This fine print advisors, man, they're big. They come up all the time. Their prices just are no good. Like, come on. $9 for a late period James CD single. I can't. Come on. I can't deal with that. That's not going to work. It's silly. First Press Records. Oh, ooh, ooh, maybe. It's a good name. Sounds like they're going to be a big store. Oh, yeah. We're going to go with this so we can move on. This is it. We're going through them. They got really good rates. I mean, depending on how they bundle their shipping, this is definitely a goodie. So let's see what they got. See if we can take it down.
You're fucking joking.
I mean, this bites. I don't know why they're charging $6.99 for this. Is such a must though, because This Is to Mother You is one of my all-time favorite Sineads. I mean, Rebels. This is like a really, really good release. This was like her return to form release. It's so good. But you know, taken in aggregate, you know, I think this is the weakest of them, really. So, you know, when you're having trouble, you know, getting together a new album, it's, you know, you end up like looking for inspiration, and she was looking at covers, and, you know, she was just all over the place, and like so little of this idea made sense to people at all. I mean, Success Is Made a Failure of Our Home was good. And I like the Why Don't You Do Right, but like this whole thing, she put on a wig. You know, like Annie Lennox pretty well did this with Who's That Girl Running Around With You, that video. Like, you know, you're freaking everyone out because I've got, you know, real hair now, and this is what I actually look like. I'm actually a totally gorgeous Irish woman, but like it was just such a, she'd had a relationship blow up, you know, but you know, if you combine it, $3, now you're talking, you're getting I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got for $4. You're starting to chip away and get the discography together. Once you get the shipping together, that's going to be free past a certain level. I mean, I don't know what their policy is. I'm not going to like actually interrogate the store and their policies, but you know, they've got a lot of what you're looking for in her catalog. You know, you're going to overpay if you go with them. You're going to overpay for Gospel Oak, which is too bad. But I mean, you're getting like 4. You can get the best of, which is not a bad idea. Faith and Courage. The only problem here, you could do better. You could do better than this because you don't have Universal Mother, and that's a must. But I mean, this album, if you're not familiar with this album, it really, there's not like a bad song on this. It honestly, the only one that I would skip over is the one, of course, Andy Rourke plays on from the Smiths. But Jump in the River to me wasn't that great. Yeah, her version of Don't Cry for Me Argentina is appalling. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, free refills. Okay, well, you can take a look if you want to worry about their policies. I don't think it's entertaining to go through shipping policies on a live stream. But anyway, yeah, I would say that this one didn't have enough. I would say you can do better. You can get a bigger bag of her stuff. But this record is front to back, 10 song. You gotta love a 10-song album. No filler, all killer. Like, it's just this one to me is a little bit weak, but everything else, and Marco Peroni's on here too, which is pretty rad, on Emperor's New Clothes. This song is like such a classic 1990 production. Like the drum, the production, everything is so funny. This is such a fucking haunting opener. Feels so different. Holy shit. I mean, the stuff she had gone through in her personal life is just so incredible. You know, unbelievable record. I mean, it's just a must own, and it's sort of like, it's like I say, it's the cornerstone that sort of urges you to realize I could get like tons of this, you know, tons of this catalog if I find the store that's got it, you know, on CD and is not overpricing their CDs. Gospel Oak, I don't understand why people are doing. I mean, there were so many copies of this stuff pressed. It is, I mean, in England and in the United States, she was on massive record labels. So you do want to hold out. You also keep seeing here the Those Mind Bomb. This was part of, so she appears on Kingdom of Rain. She was doing a lot of collaborative stuff in the mid 80s into the late 80s as she was becoming a known quantity. So she had this manager like guy, and the guy who started Chrysalis, like they just were totally bought in on her. And there was just no question. I mean, here's another thing here. Like, if this was in a store, like, I don't give a, who gives a crap about promo, not promo. 350, you're getting the actual release. Like, you're not getting the artwork, whatever. I don't really care about that. Generation Records, pretty big shop, good prices. Not a ton of stuff. Interesting, though, they have the Emperor's New Clothes single. This is going to probably have some really horrifically bad remix. Oh, the Mandinka remix from the 12 inches on this. This actually I would take down, but obviously not for $20. Oh my God. That is a little bit silly.
You're fucking joking.
I don't know what people are thinking on some of this. I don't know. I mean, it's like they just look in Discogs and they're like, oh, nobody has it. Yeah, Chrysalis is one of the worst. Arista, Chrysalis. There are labels like this from the 80s that started very late 70s, whatever, like when it was clearly opportunistic for wealthy people to start record labels because they thought they were going to make a ton of money. There were a bunch of super sketchy labels, and Chrysalis is absolutely one of them. So the rights to their material is really messed up. I mean, I don't know if they've been bought by one of the big three by now, but you know, getting stuff on those labels is a crapshoot. Oh, they did. I was hoping if this was at this place, that would have been a lot. The Talented Mr. Ripley soundtrack. God, she has been licensed on some shit. This is pretty good. So of everything so far, this is one of the best hits we've gotten. I don't think it's a lock, but this is really good. You're getting Lion and the Cobra, and the alternate cover is in here, by the way. So in the US, they didn't want her yelling on the cover, as you see down here in the corner. This is the actual cover. I think it depends. Not all the versions have it. On some of them, there's a fold over where you can see the original cover of her yelling, which is much better. But anyway, this is the sensitive cover. It's very emotional. This record, man, so good. I Want Your Hands on Me. There's a rap. There's a version where she's rapping with I forget who it is. Oh God, can't remember, but it's good. And Mandinka was the big hit single. Well, so was Troy. Troy and Mandinka both did really well. You know, this record, like I say, it suffers somewhat for really stereotypical production. But I mean, you know, you're getting the debut, you're getting I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, you're getting Universal Mother. Like, this is, you can even get Peter Gabriel's Greatest Hits for $10 if you want to, you know, get started on him and you don't know a ton about him. You know, that's a multi-decade career. Starting out with the Greatest Hits is not a bad idea. But, you know, like I say, Faith and Courage, this one is really all over the place. Atlantic wasn't happy with it. It really didn't produce the kind of hits that they were hoping. I mean, it's okay. There's, I would say, about three or four decent songs on here. Obviously stand out here. You're seeing that Eno, you know, came in and worked on Emma's song, which is pretty, but it's just not, it's kind of not all there. And, you know, like, I'm Jealous, I always liked. You know, I didn't think the single No Man's Woman was particularly strong, and this really is the tale for me. But, you know, I said at the top, this record, Universal Mother, was a phenomenal record that was essentially ignored because of the failure of Am I Not Your Girl, and the fact that Sinead had been, you know, branded a difficult artist. Now, Sinead earned being branded a difficult person and artist in a way that, say, Grimes did not. Like, there are certain artists that want to pretend and make themselves victims because things didn't go their way. That's, I don't put any stock in that. Sinead O'Connor was, you know, basically proxy lynched as a celebrity. I mean, the hate and the bile that was spewed at this woman, who was quite, you know, young even for this time, at this age. I don't know exactly how old she was in 90 when it happened. But I mean, you know, when Frank Sinatra is basically not basically, he's literally advocating violence against you in the New York Times, I believe, and the New York Times is printing that quote. You know, it really was a you know what mob. She got absolutely blown out. And so this record was ignored, and it's a shame because Fire on Babylon, you know, I think of like The Cure's Prayers for Rain, a song where Robert Smith does this like primal scream thing that takes him almost beyond your perceived understanding of his vocal range. She does that on Fire on Babylon. And it's like, yo, like you can't believe, like everybody, you know, if you've seen her live and you know what she's capable, that kind of like classic Catholic Irish rage that she's able to pull out of her. It's just like that blind fire-eyed shit. What she pulls out of herself in Fire on Babylon, unfucking believable. And like My Darling Child is beautiful. I'm not, you know, the all apologies thing is so predictable. It's exactly what you'd think. It's, you know, her tribute to poor Kurt Cobain, whatever. I love All Babies too. Like there's such good stuff on this. It's a little too long. And like, yeah, it's got like, you know, the universal mother notion, famine, you know, some of this stuff is a little bit much, but there's some real standouts on this. Not a lot of the Butcher Boy soundtrack in the mix so far. True. So yeah, I mean, you're getting the great sweep of her best stuff. And Mind Bomb, I mean, you can get started anywhere on Matt Johnson and I mean, this is a guy whose catalog you should absolutely have as well, and you can get for nothing because he was on Epic and they made they like talk about overpressed relative to the audience he ever built. I mean, he's one of my favorite artists ever, and every album out he did something different, radically different, and also amazing. You know, his batting average was unreal. Definitely a potential candidate for a future stream to get a bag out of him. So, I mean, at this point, you know, you've really got like 5, 6 of her CDs right here at a good rate, at good shipping. And then, you know, you can just go through and filter yourself cheap CDs and do out the rest. They've certainly got tons. This is an enormous shop. I've shopped here before. I don't know how many times, but you know, they're one of the bigger ones. And so this is the problem though, when they're that big, now you're getting flooded with like, you know, classical CDs and just, it's a landfill. They're going to have everything, you name it. And so it's going to take you like quite a long time to go through, and try and find some other bargains that could round it out. Therapy, Shameless. So they don't go lower than 4. This is not like a hardcore bargain basement store, but you know, you could easily get a solid start on Sinead with this place. The Crow, City of Angels. That is not the Crow soundtrack. That is the second one, which is absolutely bizarre. It has Rob Zombie's cover of I'm Your Boogeyman, White Zombie's cover of I'm Your Boogeyman. Bush doing In a Lonely Place, the Joy Division New Order track. Like, this movie was a disaster, so the soundtrack didn't do well, but it's actually pretty interesting. I don't think you need to pay $4 for it, but it's one that's got like a lot of interesting experiments. Yeah, the whole song is pretty good. Yeah, for sure. So just going like pure bottom basement as another approach, you know, this is somebody looking for 31 cents for this. What else do they have? You know what I mean? Like, just because you find it, that's not as the cheapest. So starting with the cheapest is another way. Like, you know, 71, you know, don't touch it. It's good. But when you see something that like the Red Hot and Blue thing, good plus, you're not gonna touch it. But like this should absolutely be coming up for nothing. And so, you know, you quickly can go through and search these stores and see how much better you can do. And that's kind of how I would encourage anybody to approach it. You know, you get yourself a cart that's a good indication of, okay, you know, I've got the value, and then, you know, kind of check yourself and say, okay, well, what were the things that I really wanted and how cheap can I get them? and just pop open tabs on these sellers that have got this stuff for nothing. And, you know, obviously in most cases it's because they're in crap condition. But if VG Plus, like, yeah, you know, of course, why wouldn't you? And these are $1. The issue is, like, are they going to have more? Um, but this is sort of the two approaches to take when, again, so there, you know, there's somebody who's got Gospel Oak for $1. Oh, that might be that annoying spam thing. I have to no, it's too small. It's not. So if we just go through these places that had it, you know, for nothing, and see what else they're holding. Oh, 100th window, Massive Attack. Nice. Yeah, there's not much here. I reviewed this way back when it came out on Pitchfork. I actually love this album. It's not a Massive Attack album per se. It's really a huge experiment with Sinead O'Connor that you should absolutely get. Small Time Shot Away with Damon Albarn from Blur is also awesome. Yeah, Everywhen. I love this record. I mean, it's just big, long, drawn out, you know, kind of dubby, you know, I mean, classically left field. This is actually left field. Like when you think about left field. And it's just really good kind of night bus kind of shit, but a little more, it's got a little more kind of melodrama to it, strings, etc. But, like, you know, if you're looking at finding stuff with Sinead on it, that's one of the key items in her discography, honestly, is that record. But you know, thinking about how you would coordinate that, finding a store that would have all that, it's tough. See, and it's like the places that sell cheap, this is what you tend to find. It's just a complete minefield. Really? Well, this is an interesting sidetrack. You've got to be kidding me. Someone thinks they're going to get $230 for this, like, bootleg? Like, this shouldn't even be for sale. This is so bizarre. I mean, this I remember seeing this in stores, actually. Super rare soundboard recordings. I mean, yeah, the were great live. Matt Johnson's voice is, when you hear it live, it's like, holy shit, you can't believe it's that strong. But this is just crazy. It's got to be the only one. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how this didn't get taken out, honestly. I mean, Discogs is really good about taking out unofficial releases like this. But this was actually a pretty common bootleg coming out of Mind Bomb. It's all stuff from after Mind Bomb. I never owned it, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, again, so, you know, you see the tempting prices, but it turns out that the whole store is like a, you know, kind of a mess. Well, here you go. There's all three of the ones we've been talking about for, you know, $1 for Universal Mother, $2.99 for Gospel Oak, which, again, this is like of the order, I'd say it's I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, Gospel Oak, then Lion in the Cobra, then Universal Mother. Those four are like the super, super great ones. There's some Frank Sinatra at this store, ironically, also selling lots of, oh, they have the cassette. There you go. The cassette of this, which I actually didn't have this. I had this on CD. So, you know, it's, the price thing is not always the indicator that's going to get you the value. Because, again, you see a lot of these are trashed, and that's why they're $1. And, like, do you care? Probably not too much, but hole punch in front booklet, like, you know, whatever. You can check and see if they have anything else. Oh, there you go. You got, you know, but again, like, weird stuff. Why is this $10 from you? You know, where these stores come up with their pricing is just very bizarre. Need a Clannad bag next time. Yeah. Yeah. I think at this point there is not an official release of Enya's that I don't have. I've got both box sets. I've got, like, it was just because I bizarrely, was it last summer? I can't remember when it was. I found this place that was like Enya's box sets aren't that easy to find, and I found it for like nothing. I couldn't believe it. So I picked it up. I was like, yeah, I got it, whatever. try a couple more of these, but you know, just again, you see the techniques, you see like the way to think about manipulating the Discogs, you know, features and filters to kind of find yourself a good bag and get going on her catalog, because you really do like this is somebody with a really rich, rewarding catalog that's been, you know, significantly due to her own behavior and her own troubles, kind of blurred her legacy a bit. Not for me, because I was with it the whole way through, and I have like complete respect and understanding for everything she's gone through and decided to do with her, you know, the trauma that she's been processing her whole life. I mean, it doesn't really stay. If you don't have her book, you should definitely also get her book. It's really good. Um, and that's where, you know, and there were lots of headlines when the book came out because she outed the fact that she was, you know, having a romance or an affair with Peter Gabriel. But it is a pretty good story, especially of how she started out, um, and how, you know, the misogyny and all this stuff you'd expect to hear, but you know how that stuck with her and how she fought against it in ways that not necessarily, you know, other artists did, or were able to successfully. But you know, the fact that she was on Chrysalis didn't help. And the Ensign label, this was another weird thing. This was a sub of at that time, Grange. So I mean, he's the guy. This is the main guy, Nigel, that was like all over Sinead, and he started this label essentially for her, and the Waterboys were on it, and some others. I mean, it's all like, you know, all the great Irish stuff. But it ooh, the Mandinga 12-inch. That's neat. Emperor's New Clothes, Jukebox 7-inch with the full punch. Neat. Yeah, the Lilith Fair comp, that comes up everywhere. You're not going to stop finding that one. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the thing. It just, sorting by seller and finding the most stuff is generally the best bet. This might be a better value here, this seller, because you've got they're lower price. There's that World Party record again, and you can get the best of. You know, these are all good options. You could fill it out. For Against. Oh man, we were talking about bands that are getting brought up by retro people and shoved in kids' faces that were nothing at the time. That's a big one. This compilation is critical as well. So this has the phenomenal My Bloody Valentine cover of Louis Armstrong's We Have All the Time in the World. This is not available anywhere else. You can get this CD for like pennies, and it's one to keep in mind. It's just, there's other decent stuff on it. I'm not sure about Curve and Ian Dury's What a Waste. This is pretty rough too, but Therapy's Invisible Sun is actually interesting. Car the Unstoppable Sex Machine was like at their peak at this time. The Sinead cut on this is not good. I mean, straight up. But Blur doing Oliver's Army super early in their career is a good listen. And then of course there's this Cocteau Twins thing at the end, a version of Be Still, which this is one of the outtakes from Sinead and Peter Gabriel working together, and these sort of things led to this whole compilation. But it's definitely a must own. Again, if only for the MBV track, which is so solid. That's one you want to keep an eye out for whenever you're shopping for whatever. Yeah, so this might be the late live one. Is it? Oh no, what is this? Demos and outtake. Okay, so this does have live, but it's '03. Whatever. This has got the B-side stuff and some demos, which is kind of cool. So this, yeah, this is actually it. I would say this is a really, really good one too, because you know you can get Gospel Look for $1.50, the greatest hits, even though, like, you know, whatever, it's gonna read. Like, I don't worry about it. The CDs almost always read. You know, $10 for this. This isn't Vanguard stuff. Like, this isn't that common. This could be a good grab. That's not a bad one. But on the whole, there's no slam dunk way to get yourself the bag you want. But these are, there definitely was one in here that was really solid that we could have got. And again, you just got to watch and see what happens on the shipping thing. And if the shipping is no good, then you got to find another place. But all in all, this is an artist that you really can get yourself jump started on a solid collection, and then pepper that with a couple of other repeat offenders that you may not have. Tracks that will CDs that will get you kind of a good bench of like building your collection, because that's really what it's all about. And there's just, like I say, there's just so much in artists like her that you're spoiled for options. It's just the investment, the time investment in going through and finding the store that's really going to get you the best value, and not having to kind of get stuff you don't really care about just to say that you're getting like a good value. That's not, you don't want to go through all that. But yeah, I'll just go through and see if we can find one more that might be better. And then again, you're going to see side by side at a lot of these places, a lot of other good, interesting material. Like we talked about Peter Gabriel's Us. This isn't too bad. You got some offsets there, like super cheap for this. This compilation, this is really good. So this is one you want to look for, but it's not as easy to find. This has all of these single edits and really weird one-off collabs she did that ended up on soundtracks, all kinds of like compilations. The album version of Kingdom of Rain, which you saw that coming up. I was surprised, honestly, that they bothered to spend the money to release this at this time, because it's a BMG Direct thing. That's who coordinated all the licensing. But this is one to watch out for. The collabs disc I have, it's good. It's definitely worth owning, at the right price, and putting in a bag if you find it in a store that's got a lot of her stuff. That's crazy. I mean, I would like block the seller at this point. Like, the money they're asking is just ridiculous. I don't understand why people do that. Yeah, it's so strange. Like, again, this is that captive. Um, what the hell is it? Is it a soundtrack? What the hell is this thing? This is such a bizarre. Yeah, a Paul Meyersburg film, Captive. What? Yeah, so the Edge was trying to do his Daniel Lanois thing and get his Eno on, I guess. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, there is a Dave Matthews Band collab as well. Somebody just mentioned in the chat that Sinead did. That went down. You don't really need to pull that one together. Again, this is Pop Market International place. Just silly, man. $28. Like, come on, what are you doing? I can't stand when places do this. It's so spammed out. I'm actually gonna block them. I just don't even want them coming up. It's such a waste of my scroll real estate. Um, Silly. Wow, I mean, sketchy on the quality, but this looks like a good one for some stuff too. Just a couple though, really. But yeah, this is somebody you definitely want to have a full collection of, and you can get it for nothing. And that's kind of what the focus is. Surprised we're not seeing more copies of that Come Together comp too, because that's another bedrock one you gotta have. Um, there's so much good stuff on that, especially again considering that you can get it for nothing. Every time out, you can get it for nothing. This comes up a lot too. Like, this is another one where the prices are absolutely silly. Like, if you're willing, I can't believe, like, forget it. $36 for like, I don't know where your head's at. You're wasting my time. So this turned out to be like an aggressive stream where we're thinning out the pack for next time. Yeah, again, I mean these are tolerable, but who would spend that? Strange. You never know what's gonna come up. So yeah, I think the first one we went through is probably the best that's out there right now. But there are going to be multiple stores that have all of these repeated. There you go. There's the piece together record again, and they're paired with a lot of them, but the prices just are a little bit high, I think, to go in on that. But these are all like these all these records that are coming up surrounding her. Oh wow, this is the single for that. You never see that. This is some quality, appalling, awesome '90s art. Yeah. Wow. Somebody just got what was it called? Quark. Somebody just got Quark Express. Learning how to do shearing on three-dimensional shapes in Quark Express, Quark 7. There's Tarji again. This store comes up all the time. I've gotten so much good stuff from them. $5 for the 2 CD comp. Yeah, her thing on the Diana thing, whatever. Yeah, they've got some good stuff. 2, 3, 2, and this for 5. That's a solid bag, and they have lots of other good stuff. This is one of my favorite sellers. So this is one I would definitely recommend starting out at right now. Going through, because you're going to find so much other stuff from that store when you just sort on price. They have got such, and they continue to restock with good stuff too. I think I've had like 3 or 4 buys from them. It's a good store. Thriftfield PA usually comes up with tons of stuff, and there's only one, the Bomb the Bass single. Oh yeah, Sinead was like, she was getting calls, man. I mean, like very similar to the stereotypical thing you see with you saw rather with Bjork. Like everybody wanted her voice on their records because it was just so totally unique. And she had such a strong voice. It was so pliable. You could use her for ambience, like, just drone wailing in the background, and then she could cut through anything. So she was just heavy in demand right out of the gate after Lion and the Cobra, and appeared on so much stuff. And she was, she famously shaved the Public Enemy logo in the side of her head and was like all stumping for hip hop and rap. She was majorly an iconoclast, like one of my total heroes of my teenage years. I just like, she didn't take shit from anybody. She didn't care about the consequences to her career. Like, she was just a total fucking badass. And I mean, she still is. It's just she's on a different trip that's, a personal situation, her own sense of self and all that stuff she's had to get over. Awful tragedies constantly, consistently in her life. So it's just different. What cheer? They come up all the time. Decent prices, flat down the middle, etc. So yeah, I mean, Zodiac thought they come up a lot too. The prices are a little rich, but again, this is the typical, we've gone through, and this is sort of the typical bag you can expect to put together around Sinead. You can see all these kind of records that she's on that are all of this sort of time. You should be able to get really close to a lot of them pretty easily. So recommended haul. Definitely get yourself a Sinead bag. Even Perry Farrell wanted to do something with her when she did Lollapalooza. I mean, yeah, everybody. Yeah, Shane, I was talking about that comp earlier. She goes into it in the book about what a horrific experience the wall in Berlin was for her, mostly because of the timing in her own career, but also because Roger Waters was just like being, Roger Waters and a total shithead. So this looks really good, but selling fair quality yeesh. Um, Angry Mom Records, nice. So yeah, Sinead's a quality one. Someone you want to build, a Discogs haul out of, can do it easily. It's a little harder because she's so famous and there's so many copies and so much material out there. But definitely worth the investment. Again, having all this adjacent stuff, like the Piece Together CD, like, maybe getting started on some of Stigmata. Oh my God, this movie, you gotta be kidding me. This is hilarious. Oh my God, I forgot about this. So again, the soundtrack thing was unending, because you also got the Craft soundtrack that has the Portishead version, the really deep dub version of Glory Times called Scorn. But this one is loaded. So this is Billy Corgan's art soundtrack to Stigmata, which was like, if I remember correctly, this is this incredibly embarrassing attempt to make like a serious reboot of The Exorcist, almost, with Gabriel Byrne, who had just played Satan, or was about to play Satan, in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie End of Days, which is such a fucking hilarious movie. And I think the young woman who's in End of Days is also in The Craft. But I mean, this thing, holy crap! $15. I don't know. Maybe it's. I mean, who would ever keep this piece of shit? But oh man, this one, I would get this if I came across this. I would definitely get it. Hey, Phil Thornley, the guy who wrote Torn for Natalie Imbruglia, plays bass with her, and Nigel Godrich. This is right after OK Computer produced it. Lyrics by Billy Corgan. It's this, honestly, this is such crap, but like, yeah, I'm gonna get this someday. Like when I find it for $2, I'll get this. Oh boy, I can't imagine how bad this is. But I wonder. I don't remember this. For all for all I know, this is actually really good. The Sinead collab with Afro Celt Sound System. Who knows? Could be awesome. But the price is absurd. That's an awful price. I don't know what else. Yeah, again, this is somebody who's looking for $15 for, a good copy of a CD. Come on. Come on. I'm not pulling the trigger on that. Oh wow, I like this. This is gonna have the Ian Dury collab. Um, this does not come up that much, even though it was on a major and it was a flop. But yeah, um, Edna Swamp, yeah. Post the Door, Billy Corgan, yeah, it's rough stuff. I mean, whatever. People have stuck with him. I don't know why, but I tune out after Melancholy. That's it for me. I've never gone in for any of his other stuff. Um, but yeah, get yourself some Sinead. Hopefully you can find a strong bag and get started with her. And yeah, so we'll see you Thursday at 7 o'clock.